Hi there. After some questions at the end of the lecture, I realized that perhaps it would be useful to just talk a little bit more about that Python for loop, just to be clear about its structure, but actually, in general, just to be very clear about grammatical structure. So that's what I want to do. So this might be some possible erroneous thinking that came out of the lecture today. And so some folk were a bit confused as to why this name, or what the significance of this name was. The fact that perhaps in this case when it was called CH, that's a bit like character. If we think of some sort of English meaning for that little name there, it might be to do with character. Does that mean that this for loop is working over characters by comparison with this one here where we've used the name index? Does that somehow mean that this second for loop is actually working over index values as opposed to the first one that might be working over characters? So that's a possible misunderstanding in thinking there's something quite significant to the language about these particular names. So the overwhelming answer to this is no and no. Well, in the sense that you shouldn't worry too much about what particular name is used there. I guess in actual fact, let me just change that for a second. Of course, the answer there is not in fact no. In fact, yes, it is. It does print the characters, but yes, it prints characters in both cases. It doesn't matter what this name is. The whole point is this is just this piece between the for and the in is just any variable name I choose to give it. It's just a variable. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about, is the importance of appreciating the grammatical structure of not just this, but any piece of code. So I've only really got one other slide. It's just this one that looks at the precise grammar here. So the way to unpack something like this is to see the kind of reserved language symbols, so for and in and a colon. And so that sort of gives you the template or the pattern for what one of these things looks like. And then in these two other slots, we've got kind of two slots here in this for loop header. And so this one here, the first one, can be any variable name at all. Just as I can call a variable, just an ordinary variable, I can give it any name, so I can here. So it's not significant to the way the for loop operates what name I put there. And then in the second case, I can have any arbitrary expression or calculation here, as long as it comes back as a string. Any expression or calculation that returns a string. So in this example below, I've created myself a variable first called anyString. Let's just draw a line across here. Clear, separate it, and it's just a completely random string. It could be anything you like. And in this particular case, you can see the pattern. Here's the for, here's the in, and here's the colon. And dropped into that pattern, firstly, well, I've decided to use the name Squoggle, just to really underline the fact it can be any name you like. It absolutely is not important. And this second part can be any expression that gives me back a string. So what we've got here is a simple little expression that adds together whatever the variable anyString contains and adds it to QWER. So we'd end up with IOL for QWER as a whole string, and that would be the string that this for loop is operating over. And so that's the second part. Okay, so there's some value in really appreciating this precise grammatical structure here and seeing what is fixed in terms of things like for, in, colon, and what can change, so whatever variable name I like and whatever expression. I care to put in there. It could be arbitrarily complicated, it could be much more complicated than what I've written in the lower example down here, or it could be simpler, but it just has to be something that comes back with a string. Anyway, I hope that kind of clarifies something for some of you maybe, and see you on Friday. Bye for now.